Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to my patch 8.11 mid lane solo queue tier list. I thought it's about time I did another tier list and updated you guys with what mids are very strong to climb with right now. We've seen some massive changes in the mid lane on 8.11 due to itemization and also some changes in the champions kits, so let's get straight into it. Alright, so kicking it off with my S tier mid laners, you got Twisted Fate. I think TF is almost ready to go down to A tier. If we see one more indirect nerf towards Twisted Fate, this patch being Minion Dematerializer, a couple of patches ago it was Summon a Spell Swap. I think he is definitely not as strong as he once was, so I think he's just on the verge, but he's still a great champion for solo queue. He can hold so much presence in the mid lane, and I definitely recommend, if you want to invest time in Aroma, Twisted Fate, Irelia, or Talon are going to be your best bets. Now bringing it across to Talon. Talon is easily the best AD mid right now. A lot of players are just rushing Tiamat. You run mid, clear it in, roam. Clear it in, roam. It's disgusting how mobile this champion is and how much impact it can have on your gameplay. So I definitely recommend trying it out. The Last Whisper buffs helped him out as well. So if you're ever looking for a time to pick up an AD assassin, pick up Talon and spam it on this patch. Moving across is Vladimir. He's got indirectly nerfed this patch because of the Irelias, but he's still a great AP team fighter. Easily the best AP team fighter right now for your solo queue games. I've seen a lot of builds changing up a bit. I think it's more around about like one rotation builds. I think I've just seen Proto, like Death Cap or Proto Morello Death Cap, and you pretty much just want to flank in the mid to late, get an ult, get a full rotation off, and you just one-shot everything. So if you're looking for that type of play style, pick up Vladimir. Moving across, we've got Aurelion Sol. Aurelion is still disgusting in this patch, guys. The minion demon changes didn't really change him at all. He didn't actually need it to get priority, so it wasn't really essential for him. The one problem is he is seeing some matchups arise, such as the Irelia, that he really struggles with. So I think right now, if you're looking to play Aurelion, you've just got to be a little bit careful of when you're picking it. You don't want to pick it into things like the Talon, like the Irelia, even into things like the Zoe and LeBlanc. It's kind of really hard to maneuver around these champions that just jump in and jump out. You really want to use it into control mages. So just make sure you're thinking about when you pick Aurelion, but when you do, he's going to net you some great win rates. Now as for Irelia, guys, Irelia is absurd. The champion pretty much counters every traditional mid right now. If you're a mechanical player, maybe you're a top laner and you're just looking to move into the mid lane, pick up Irelia. It's just disgusting how much regular traditional mids struggle going into this champion. It's one of the reasons I don't really want to put Victor too high right now, because if you play Victor and it's something like an Irelia, you're doomed. You can't play the game. So I recommend picking up Irelia and just looking to pop off in the mid lane and snowball. The one good thing is I've seen you can counteract Irelia mid pretty hard with some top lane champions. I've seen things like Darius and Singed. I've heard you can actually play that in the mid lane and just counteract that Irelia. Just bring top lane to the mid lane and just battle fire with fire. So if you're looking for a counter, maybe pick up those champions. Moving across is Zoe. Zoe's too strong right now. It probably needs nerfs. I've been spamming the fuck out of her, and it's obvious to me she needs nerfs. Her damage numbers are still too high. And I recommend, if you're looking for a fun mid laner, like mid lane for me, Zoe right now is the epitome of a fun champion to play. I guess it's more so I know the enemy team's not having fun, so I'm having fun. So yeah, I recommend that. Lastly is LeBlanc. I think LeBlanc's a great assassin, really high mobility, high damage numbers. People still are kind of not understanding her damage numbers or what her kit does. So that's rounding off my S tier mid laners, guys. Special mentions to things like Zed, Anivia. I think they just missed out. I think they still need a little bit to go to make it into the S tier mids. So now for the rest of the tier list, I'm just going to briefly touch on a couple of champions I want to talk about. The first being Talia. Now, a lot of people probably see Talia as A tier, and they go, are you high, dude? Like, this champion just got gutted. But the hotfix changed my opinion entirely. They added a lot of fucking extra damage on this champion. It's pretty much just an insane burst mage right now. If you go full damage, you pop a WEQ combo, you're just going to 100 to 0. Pretty much anybody in the mid lane. It's pretty absurd. So I think Talia might actually see nerfs now. They might bring that extra Q damage down a little bit. I'm not too sure, but it just feels too strong, in my opinion. Another champion you see there is Lulu. Benefited a lot from Banner of Command. It's kind of hard. I wanted to put her S tier, but after the hotfix with the Banner of Command, she's down to A, definitely. The Banner of Command is still a viable option and a viable strategy, but because of the Banner of Command nerfs, I've got to put her down into the A. What else are we seeing? We're seeing Zed Of course, Zed is just continuously, I think over like the last, every single patch this season, Zed had just been slowly getting better and better. And right now, he's at his peak. He's got great itemization. Last Whisper has been buffed. I think that Zed has great matchups in the mid lane. Things like the Zoe, things like Irelia popping up mid. I definitely think that if you're looking for that pop-off assassin with the Zed, you can pick it up. Now moving down, looking at my B tier mid laners, you may see Yasuo. I see a lot of people complaining about Yasuo, just saying he's absolute junk and trash, but I think after a while, after people get used to the new itemization, the hotfix, he's got a little bit of buffs there. I think Yasuo is still a strong champion to play if you're a Yasuo one trick, and I think that some of the people complaining probably just aren't used to the new build pass and just still working things out, but I do think he is one to watch out for with the new itemization. Last champion I want to talk about is Victor. So with the introduction of Nimbus Cloak, I kind of thought like, hey, Victor is just slowly getting stronger and stronger. He got buffed this patch as well with his numbers. I thought maybe, maybe Victor can be an A tier mid laner. Maybe he's playable, but after some play testing, a lot of the champions right now that are very strong in the mid lane counteract Victor too hard. He can't match people like the Irelia, like the Zoe, like the Vladimir. He just can't match at all. And because of the 1250 base, like back timing that you need for your first hex core upgrade, and the amount of like pressure that's coming to the mid lane through these level 2 ganks and stuff like that, Victor, if you can't get your first back into the hex core, and you get the hex core around about 12-15 minutes, like it's just so slow scaling early game, and a lot of the times the game's going to be over before you can actually come into it. So I think in order for Victor to get back into meta and back a little bit higher on the tier list, they've probably just got to make these hex core cost 1,000 again steady. I honestly think that's probably going to be the need to make him a viable mid again. So that's it for my 8-11 mid lane solo queue tier list, guys. I hope it's helped. I hope you guys can abuse some of these champions on 8-11 quickly before some of them are nerfed. I think a couple of champions will see nerfs within the next couple of patches, so make sure to start spamming them now and really invest in the time to climb.